Hi everyone, I'm WABC Chief Meteorologist Lee Goldberg. This is Wake Up Weather on ABC7 NY and For Weather or Not, sponsored by TD Bank. Well, our forecast getting quieter as we go into Wednesday. For the morning commute, residual heavy rains from overnight may have some debris along your route, maybe still some standing water in some poor drainage areas. Just allow for some extra time, monitor your routes, see if there are any closures because of some of the very heavy rainfall. The Bronx and lower Westchester hit particularly hard with several inches of rainfall. We had basically simultaneous severe thunderstorm warning and flash flood warnings throughout the night and tapering during the wee hours of the morning. So now a big change because a cold front is settling to our south. We've got more of a cool northeast wind. We go from our 20th 90-degree day of the season on Tuesday to 70 degrees from our high in a lot of places to the north, staying in the upper 60s on Wednesday. There will be more showers, but not all day, and it'll be cool, mainly cloudy day. What a difference in a day we haven't experienced in quite a while, and certainly feeling nothing like August. And of course, we're tracking Debbie, continuing to drop tremendous rains in the southeast and actually getting a little burst of energy from reemerging into the Atlantic and spending most of Wednesday in the Atlantic off the Carolina coast and likely making another landfall later Wednesday night into Thursday morning as a stronger tropical storm. So our storms are gone, the worst of the storms, but still damp in many spots for the morning commute and still showery during the day on Wednesday. The rain is definitely lighter. We don't have an AccuWeather alert. And the showers are more consistent south of New York City. You have a drier day to the north. We're all kind of damp to start. And then the concentration of showers is really south of I-78. It might be in New York City from time to time. If you're fortunate in parts of the Hudson Valley and Connecticut, you may just have mostly cloudy skies, but you spend the day in the 60s with a cool northeast wind. In terms of Debbie, which will remain tropical storm status, maybe into part of Thursday, then go extratropical, the remnants of Debbie are going to bring heavy rounds of rain here. That threat can start with some outer bands of rain on Thursday, especially later in the day and at night, and the threat would go into Saturday morning. But there's definitely been a shift in track with Debbie. We started to talk about it on Eyewitness News on Tuesday, where the track is trending farther north and west. And if we're going to be on the eastern side of the storm, that could keep us, number one, away from the core of the heaviest rains and get us into more waves of showers, still the potential for some intermittent flooding. Also, the fact that we'd be on the windier side of the storm and maybe get some gusts that could go 30, maybe some 40-mile-per-hour gusts. There's also, again, still some natural rotation with the system. Could there be some spin-ups in a thunderstorm where you get an isolated tornado? Not out of the question as we watch the remnants. So a different profile to how the storm will impact us given the projected track. The futurecast would suggest we still have showers around first thing on Wednesday. Maybe there's an isolated downpour in there, especially north and east of New York City. And we're mainly cloudy, we're cool, we're damp. During the day, just a lot of clouds, a cool northeast wind. Maybe we can crack 70, especially south of New York City. That's where we're seeing a little bit more shower activity. Across the Hudson Valley and Connecticut, we're more likely to have more dry windows with just a lot of clouds. On Thursday, a little more waves of showers coming through, maybe a thunder shower. And I think as we go into later Thursday and Thursday night, we're starting to feel some of those outer bands of the remnants of Debbie starting to come northward. Debbie is not interacting with the front that gave us the big storms. That essentially was tropical moisture available and a front activating that and giving us these slow-moving, drenching thunderstorms, prolific lightning makers. And then, of course, Debbie is still down to the south. Now, ultimately, these two systems will interact as we go through late week. But the storm center going over the Atlantic, and maybe the structure will start to look a little bit better, but still tremendous rains going into the Carolinas and even into parts of Georgia into the day on Thursday. You see how it will likely make a second landfall here as we go into Wednesday night and Thursday morning along the South Carolina coast. There could be additional storm surges up through North Carolina. It'll go inland and then start accelerating as these storms tend to do, and it starts to react and feel the jet stream to the north as it gets yanked up the East Coast. But instead of going right along the East Coast, and earlier it looked like it could be over us or just to our south and east, Maybe this one's going closer to the I-81 corridor, and that's where the core of some of the heaviest rains could be. If you look at that projected track, see how we've got some waves of rain on Thursday, and then on Friday, we've got a band of rain in the afternoon, maybe another one coming at night, with the core of some of the heaviest rains working through parts of central Pennsylvania. We'll still get into some very heavy rainfall that can cause some flooding and maybe even some damaging winds as we go into Friday night. The rainfall down in the Carolinas additionally could still be an additional foot of rainfall. But when we talk about the tri-state area, the heavy rainfalls, which could go over a half a foot, may actually be to our west, again, along the I-81 corridor. Could that clip parts of the Catskills? Not out of the question, and maybe into the Hudson Valley. And again, we can still get some flooding. I don't want to downplay that threat is still there. It's just that the core of steadiest rains in the actual center of circulation that was once Hurricane Debbie does not look like it's coming through the core of our area. So we'll deal with more waves of rain, some strong winds, and maybe some severe weather as that begins to come through, and the worst of that may be Friday night into very early Saturday morning. It also means that things could get a little bit more progressive with our improvement over the weekend. And if you're trying to plan things, and I've actually got a lot of requests, do you think on Saturday afternoon we might be drying out? I do. I think we might have a chance to get some sunshine back to the forecast. More on that in the 7-day. So 20 90-degree days now after hitting 90. That heat lasted a little longer. The front got hung up. So we got our 20th 90-degree day. And also this front will use that fuel to produce some of the severe thunderstorms across the area. Looking at the temperature trend, though, now that we've extinguished that heat, the trend is below normal through the middle of August, from the 14th to the 20th, beyond the 7-day. You see, we're near to below normal temperatures. And that's not because of more moisture coming around the Bermuda High and more tropical issues. It's more that we're getting our flow coming out of the northwest with the jet stream farther south than it is typically this time of year. And we get more fronts coming out of Canada and a cooler air mass overall. So after we get out of the moisture of way below normal temperatures through the middle of the week, we'll be closer to upper 70s and lower 80s as we go through the middle of the month with no extreme heat in sight. And you can even just look at the orientation of the precipitation forecast, which is showing this above normal stretch from the northwest into the high plains and western lakes and into the northeast, just indicating fronts are able to come down and give us some rain threats from time to time. We're not talking much above normal, just normal to above normal. Looking at our rain chances, they're down Wednesday and Thursday. We'll have more off and on showers. But once we get into Friday, we get the core of the remnants of Debbie, especially into Friday night. There's still a 60% shot on Saturday, but that's heavily weighted on the first part of the day. So we'll do an AccuWeather alert for now on Saturday, but we might be able to pull it for the afternoon hours. And look at how we're nice and dry and super comfortable Sunday through Tuesday of next week, our reward for going through this very rough stretch. 7 in the morning on your Wednesday. We're around 70. It is a much cooler feel. There's a cool wind out of the north-northeast. There are some showers around. There might be an isolated downpour north and east. And in your travels, just watch for some debris or some residual standing water. Most of that is definitely receded from the overnight hours, but there still could be some debris in some areas. And again, watch out. We did have some gusts over 60 miles an hour in places like Mamaroneck. So again, there could be some tree limbs down. That would be the exception rather than the rule, but just keep that in mind. So our shower threat goes through the day. I mean, at any given time, there's a 40% shot of seeing a passing shower. We're hovering in the upper 60s. I mean, that's what we've typically been dealing with for overnight lows. We'll go for a high of 70, cloudy and much cooler. Showers around, especially from New York City south. It looks drier to the north. Could there be a couple of holes in the overcast in Dutchess, Ulster County, maybe northern Fairfield? Not out of the question. We'll put the sea and sand up. Not much of a beach day. Northeast wind is chilly, 2 to 3 foot waves, and the rip current risk is on the moderate side. Weather wellness allergy sufferers will love to hear this. The air quality is good. The pollen count is knocked way down, and the UV index at a very low 2. Tomorrow night, 65. Evening showers, although I think they could be scattered about at any time during the overnight as it remains cloudy. So here's the way the 7-day stands down. Definitely some alterations later on. We've got cool clouds on Wednesday. It's wetter to the south. On Thursday, occasional showers and maybe a thunder shower. It could become a little heavier later in the day and at night as some of the outer bands or the remnants of Debbie start to approach. The remnant rains on Friday, and this will be waves. There might be a heavy round through the midday, and then at night, maybe the brunt of this into early Saturday morning. And that could bring some damaging winds, some thunderstorms, even a spin up with the rotation of the system. An isolated tornado wouldn't be out of the question, so we'll be on guard for that. It should be windy on Saturday. Maybe we get off to a damp start, whether that is pre-dawn through the early morning hours or whether it lasts through midday. We'll nail that down tomorrow. But the trend has been drier. Trend is our friend for the afternoon hours. So we'll keep the AccuWeather alert on Saturday. I'm weighting it more toward the first part of the day, looking at some sunshine developing from southwest to northeast during the afternoon hours. On Sunday, sunny to partly cloudy and drier, 79 degrees. There's a couple disturbances of the jet stream coming through Sunday into Monday. Probably stays dry. It's too dry for any showers. Maybe on Monday in the higher terrain north and west, there's a shower in the afternoon. Otherwise, partly sunny around 80 and very pleasant humidity levels nice and low into Tuesday. That's the way it's shaping up. That's your AccuWeather forecast, which you can always get weather information on ABC7NY 24/7. Thanks as always for listening to Whether or Not. We'll see you next time, rain or shine.